Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before I begin, I would like to ask a few questions, get a feel of the audience, if I may. Now, could I please ask everyone to close their eyes, because the questions I'll be asking are a tad personal. I don't want anyone feeling judged or pressured. Alright. Please raise your hand if you agree with the use of condoms. Now, please raise your hand if you are sexually active. Now, amongst those who have their hands raised, please keep them raised if you would have sex without a condom. This is the topic of my speech, the condom. More specifically, however, is making the condom more readily available in a more private setting. Condom dispensers. So, this here is a condom. It's a form of contraceptive that you place on a penis and has two basic purposes: to prevent the spread of STDs and to prevent unwanted pregnancies. But why am I talking about the condom rather than any other type of contraceptive such as the pill? It's because the condom has this dual ability. It has the ability not only to prevent pregnancy as all other contraceptives do, but to prevent the spread of STDs, and no other contraceptive has this. But why a condom dispenser? Why this when you can just walk on down to the local pharmacy or 7-Eleven and buy it there? Well, it's because the condom dispenser offers a discreet place, and discreet is very important in this country because sometimes people feel shy. They feel like they'll be judged if they buy it in a public place, because promiscuity is frowned upon in this country. The general moral agreement pushed forth by the Catholic Church is for you to stay a virgin until marriage, no sex before marriage. It's about conservatism, about saving the sexual act for the one you love. The purpose of sex is to create life. It's not a casual act. But then there's a new culture developing, one that has been developing due to the exposure to other cultures more open to casual sex. I'm talking about globalization, the media, the interconnection of the world is starting to change how parts of our culture view sex. And these are the people I want to focus on. That's you and me. That's Generation Y. I'm talking about college students, the general managers, everyone in between, everyone who is having sex. In 2010, the Philippine government withdrew its funding for condoms. Without the proper education on other forms of contraceptive, a lot of curious young couples around the Philippines have been exploring the sexual act without the correct precautions. The condom is the most well-known form of contraceptive. So without ready access to this, many couples have chosen to continue without it. People rely here on the rhythm method or pulling out. Both are unreliable forms of contraception or protection, let alone against STDs or pregnancies. We have to embrace that sex is happening. We have to move with it, work with it. I say, rather than trying to fight the movement, I say we work with it, we help it and make sure it's safe. Trying to push for basic sex education across schools is politically and religiously complicated. So I'm talking about a simple solution that just opens up choice. It's all about choice. I'm talking about the choice to choose to use without the pressure of others judging you, a non-discriminatory option to choose to use. What I want to push for is to create a bill to ensure that certain places carry these condom dispensers. That way it's discreet and it's accessible. I would want to see condom dispensers in high school and college bathrooms and also club bathrooms. I've chosen these places specifically because in the school scenarios, this is where most of the shyness would come from. People are hesitant to purchase condoms at the pharmacy or at 7-Eleven, perhaps because they're scared someone like their mom's friend, their aunt, their parents will see them. And obviously club bathrooms, because this is where they'll be needed the most immediately and perhaps gain the most utility. On a forum I was reading on this topic, I stumbled upon a great quote. This person said, "We had condom machines in our college dorm bathrooms. They were lifesavers, literally." This is really the essence and the purpose of having condom dispensers, the fact that those who need it get it. A dispenser is not imposing on anyone to use it. It's just like any other dispenser, a tissue dispenser. But it doesn't force one to have sex. It just allows those who want to have sex to do it safely. What the condom does is it prevents any nasty physical consequences, also psychological consequences. The next argument will probably fall on controlling who has access to it. I mean, some would argue that placing condom dispensers in high school bathrooms is almost suggesting, and in some cases convincing them, that it's okay to just have sex regardless of the circumstances. I know we're talking about the young children here, the younger children, or cases where people are not mentally ready for sex, and yet the condom dispenser's there, so they can just grab one and try it out. But I mean, complete control of anything in this world is impossible. But that's why we're limiting it to places where hopefully the youngest of children don't have access to it. You're not going to find a young child in a club bathroom. You're not going to find a young child, in most cases, in the high school and college bathroom. But it falls on the responsibility of different agencies to educate people on the correct use of this. I know that my saying that these condom dispensers should be available in high school bathrooms is a bit of a controversy. As I said, it may lead to thoughts of sex. But again, I emphasize that in placing a condom dispenser in public bathrooms, you're simply opening up the choice. You're not forcing anyone. You're just opening up the choice to do it in a safe manner. To be able to have access to this protection without the public eye scrutinizing you is a really important factor. As I said earlier, much of this country is very conservative, especially about topics relating to sex, and I believe it's a great solution to protection and to safe decisions. However, having condoms on display in public bathrooms is not only for the utility, but it's also for the psychological factors, the mental thing. Because as a group, we will become more comfortable with the thought of condoms and the use of it, since it's being displayed in many bathrooms, and we start to remember and think more about them. The acceptance will begin to spread. Curiosity will begin to spread. It's a small step towards free choice, but one that I think is both necessary and extremely beneficial. Moving on to the other issue that has, I believe, just as serious repercussions as pregnancy is the spread of STDs. The Philippines officially is statistically a low HIV infected country. It is estimated that only 0.1% of our adult population is infected. However, I believe that, and also reports have shown that this number may be severely less than what the true numbers are, and that the governments are concealing records. STIs, or sexually transmitted infections, are apparently on the rise, however. The problem is that a lot of the population has not received the sufficient education on how these diseases or infections spread. They just don't understand. In fact, it's quoted that approximately 2/3 of young women lack comprehensive knowledge on HIV transmission, and 90% of the population, of the Philippine population, of reproductive age, believe that you can contract HIV by sharing a meal with someone. As we know, that's not true. So how do we achieve this form of education? When the RH bill, the reproductive health bill, has not been passed, how do we help the poor with the large families? How do we do this when the funds for condoms were withdrawn in 2010? I mean, there's no simple solution. But as I said earlier, condom dispensers in specific public bathrooms is what I believe a great start. simple statements on the dispensers like, if you use a condom during sex, you can prevent pregnancy and the spread of potentially fatal diseases. Although, of course, this will be in the Philippine translation too. Although some who read it may not understand why it's true, at least they'll see a reason to use a condom. It may spark the curiosity to find out details, and so we'll have more people asking questions and asking the right questions, doing research, more people learning about sex and the effects it can have if you don't take the necessary precautions. Placing condom dispensers in high school, college bathrooms, and in club bathrooms, I believe, is a solution. I'm not talking about the solution, but a solution to the people of this country who have not been lucky enough to receive sex education, so they're not taking the proper precautions. It's a first step that opens up choice. In a private manner, again, as I said, this country is very conservative and morally against sex before marriage, or casual sex, and apparently this does suggest casual sex. I hold no judgment and rather only want to open up choice. I say yes to condom dispensers.
Louds album.